That's why we use our tortilla press. It's like a flag of you can do it. Whatever they say, don't listen, just print.
Hello, print friends, and welcome to the 57th episode of Pine Copper Lime, the internet's #1 printmaking podcast. I'm your host, Miranda Metcalf. I release weekly podcasts with people in the print world doing something a bit beyond the expected. So please subscribe on your podcast listening app of choice. You can also find Pine Copper Lime on Instagram and Facebook, and you can sign up for our monthly newsletter with print news from around the world, all at pinecopperlime.com. We also have a Patreon page where, if you like this show and you want to toss a couple of bucks our way each month, you can get super cool thank yous like stickers, buttons, and even tote bags. Printmaking forever, shun the non-believers. This is a very special episode, print friends. It is the inauguration of what will become a regular feature on Pine Copper Lime. In collaboration with your friend and mine, Reinaldo Gil Zambrano, Pine Copper Lime is going to start regularly releasing episodes in which I interview our guests in English and Reinaldo interviews them in Spanish. And then we release the episodes as a double feature. We're looking forward to reaching more print friends throughout the world, and we could not be more excited to ring in this new tradition with Alejandra and Javier Moreno of Gatos Press based in central Mexico. Alejandra and Javier are living the printmaking dream as a husband and wife team running their press together. We talk about how they met and fell in love in art school, what it's like to make prints on an evil tortilla press, and why they named their press Tres Gatos when there's only 2 of them, as well as working with the public both pre- and post-COVID. So, without further ado, sit back, relax, and prepare to say hola to Alejandra Ramirez and Javier Moreno. Hi Javier, hi Alejandra, how are you doing?
Hello, how are you, Miranda?
Hi, Miranda.
Hello, I'm really good. Thank you so much for joining me. I've been admiring your work on the social media for quite some time, so I'm really excited to sit down and chat with you both, and also to do another double release of Pine Copper Lime, because we'll be recording this interview in English, and then we'll be recording it again in Spanish with Reinaldo Gil Zambrano. And then we'll get to do the double release, and it'll be really great. So that's always super fun too. So thank you for being willing not only to join me initially, but also to take another hour out of your day to do the interview again in Spanish with Reinaldo. So thank you.
Thank you for inviting us.
So before we get started and start diving into all the juicy details, I always like to ask my guests to introduce themselves just a little bit, to give a bit of an overview and let people know who you are, where you are, and what you do.
Okay, my name is Alejandra Mares. I'm from Guadalajara currently. We're living in Jocotepec, Jalisco. It's like 45 minutes away from Guadalajara. And I went to Universidad de Guadalajara or college. And my major is in painting, but currently we are working on printmaking.
Beautiful. And what about you, Javier?
Okay, well, my name is Javier Moreno, and I also studied at Universidad de Guadalajara with Alejandra Mares, where we met there and we became,
one of a kind.
Yeah, we have been married from
15 years almost.
I almost forgot.
Congrats.
Yeah. That sounds a lot. And I also, my major is in painting. We're doing printmaking. And well, we have been doing printmaking since 2016.
Yeah.
So I've never done an interview before with two artists at the same time, but it seemed like it was really appropriate to do it for you two because you both run this press. You're partners in the press and partners in life. So what I'll probably do is just ask a couple more sort of background questions for each of you, and then we'll sort of dive into talking about the press. So I'd love to start with you, Alejandra. So you mentioned a bit about where you grew up. Can you sort of speak more to what that experience was like and what role art played in your life in Guadalajara? And if you came from an artistic family, if you were drawing all the time, just give us a little picture of what that part of your life was like.
Well, actually, in my family, I'm the only artistic person, because my sisters, I'm the youngest. My old sister is an English teacher, and my middle sister is a doctor. She's a gynecologist. So I'm the only weird creature with the painting abilities. So I was like I don't know, like the unique kid, like the one that it was always looking and searching for things. I really like to sewing. My mom likes to embroidery and things like that, so I got that from my mom's. I think I started doing painting and drawing and things like more with my hands when I was in secondary. So then I started more interested. I was like the weird goth kid. So I was very interested in all that kind of things, like the creepy and unique, weird stuff that regular kids like that age, they were not interested in that.
Yeah. I have to say, me too. Like, I definitely had at one point just bright pink hair and studded necklaces and a lot of holes in my face, and it's yeah, I love it.
So when I was I was not doing like my studies like normally. I lost like a year before I went to college. And then in college, I was just a regular human between all those weirdos, like in college, actually.
Yeah.
So because painting and printmakers, photographers, dancers, all those major classes were in that university. So then I met Javier in one common class because he was like a year ahead of me. So we met in class, and because he's 10 years older than me, it was a very interesting experience because he has a tattoo that I really like about Geiger. So it was like, that's the guy. So ever since we're together.
I love it. I love that. Drawn Together over H.R. Geiger, I think, is a great origin story for any couple, for sure. And then, so what about printmaking? So you said you majored in painting, but now you both are obviously pretty dedicated to printmaking. Were you exposed to that in college and sort of enjoyed it there and then just sort of returned to it? How did you end up going from painting to printmaking?
In our classes, we had printmaking, but just like the basic stuff like linoleum, silography, silkscreen, dry point, I guess. But it was just like the basic things because our major was in painting. So when I was in college, it was like just to do the things that the teacher was saying, and that was it. And then when we finished the university, we ended up like doing nothing about art. Our lives were like totally far away from art.
What were you doing?
Like traveling and doing like regular things because Javier was working in a newspaper.
Oh, okay.
So
that's kind of printmaking, right?
Yeah, he's a graphic designer.
Yeah.
So he was doing that, and he was very into obviously the work, and I was just trying to figuring out what to do with my new marriage life, I guess. So we stopped doing art for a while, and then we moved to León, Guanajuato for 10 years, and then there in the Museum of León, they were having like a children's workshop. We went to this workshop. It was for free for kids. So it was just these big grown-ups among the kids. But it was really fun because it was on Sundays. It was like our going to the mall, but instead to the mall, we went to the museum and do artistic things.
Yeah, that sounds much better than a mall. Yeah.
Yeah. So we found, again, we reconnect with art and printmaking, actually, because of those workshops for kids.
That's lovely. That's lovely. So what about you, Javier? Where did you grow up, and what role did art have in that part of your life?
Okay, well, I born in León, Guanajuato, the capital of shoemaking in Mexico.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a lot of shoes in León, Guanajuato. It's a very industrial city, and my father, he works on leather craft. He does wallets and some other leather goods. I remember that when I was a kid, he asked me to draw all these leather goods just to keep me busy or something like that, because I don't think he really needed those. But instead he told me that instead of taking pictures, he wanted me to draw. So I was drawing that, and I was copying these comic books, copying the superheroes, and they keep telling me that I have aptitude to drawing. So I was like, okay, well, thanks, but I really don't know how to do it, because I just draw what I see. So I didn't knew anything about the techniques and all the stuff. So then I started working at, when I was 18, on a newspaper, but as a delivery boy, as a paper boy. So I was just delivering the newspapers, and then I remember that one of the secretaries in that local newspaper told me that I had something about graphic design. I have skills. So I started to work on designing this newspaper, but again, without any technique or knowledge about how to do it. We just have some guy telling us that do this, do that. So I really didn't know what I was doing, but I knew that I was delivering the designs that the newspaper needed. So at that time, I started to work on Illustrator and all these graphic design suite, and I started working with that, and I was making some drawings, but just for fun. And then I studied some graphic design for 1 year. Then I moved to Guadalajara, and when I was in Guadalajara, I was like, well, I don't have any degree, and I'm very old, and I don't have any degree. Yeah, honestly, all my friends have degrees, but me, I was the only one that didn't have any. So I was like, well, I need a degree, and I really love drawing. I really love painting, doing watercolors. without any technique. So I wanted to know exactly how to do it, because when I saw these paintings and watercolors, I was like, how they do this? I mean, what kind of magic they use? Because I really don't understand how these gradients and all these drawings. So I entered the Universidad de Guadalajara. I studied the visual arts in painting, and then the story goes on. But in my family, there's no one told me, no one encouraged me to do some art. Just my father has these hand skills to make things, but he really didn't tell me what to do or never encouraged that. So I needed to do it all by myself. And in the university, with all these issues they have, I really tried to get something from the university. And I'm very grateful to the university for that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so were you also introduced initially to printmaking at university as well?
Yeah, we have the same classes. We went to the same classes. I also failed 1 year of the university because I failed because my teacher, my painting teacher, he told me, okay, I can pass you, but honestly, I don't like your painting. Do you want?
Really?
Yeah, really. Do you want to pass, or do you want to redo this year? Because I honestly don't like it, but I can pass you if you want. So I told him, no, I'm gonna redo because I really want to paint well.
Yeah. So did he say like he didn't like your paintings and like he didn't like your technique, or he didn't like what you were painting, do you think?
The technique.
The
The
technique.
technique.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because the teachers, they were like very understandable about what do you wanted to say in your painting. They just focused on techniques only.
That's good. I mean, that's good though, because I've definitely talked to some artists before who had an experience in school where a teacher would just say like, I just don't like what you're painting. I don't think this is what art is, and then run into conflict there. But that's good that they were able to kind of to focus on the technique, and then also that you were someone who were like I don't want the easy pass. Like I'm here to get good at this. I think that's not always an easy thing to do for sure. And then so we heard a little bit about kind of what came next from Alejandra, but kind of I'd love to hear sort of your side of the story, if you will, in terms of so she saw your H.R. Geiger tattoo and we're like, that's the guy. Can you tell me a little bit about meeting her?
Well, I saw her wearing these Dr. Martens boots.
Uh-huh.
And because of the boots, I was like, oh, those boots are great. Then I looked a little bit at the top and I saw like a very beautiful girl. And I was like, okay, she's the one.
I love that. You started at the boots and just worked your way up. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's really cute. And then so how long were you together before you got married?
1 year.
Okay. Yeah. That's the same with me and my husband. It just was like, oh, yeah, okay, it's you. I've been waiting for you. Like, so we only dated about a year before we got married, which at least in the States people would consider that a bit quick, I think.
Yeah, same for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you then you sort of were just working a bit after uni, and you came back and you were reintroduced and reinvigorated by the art world through programming at your local museum. And then at some point you were decided to dedicate yourself to printmaking it sounds like more fully or more intensely, and start what you now call Tres Gatos Press. So tell me about that sort of process of coming back to or falling deeper in love with printmaking, and then deciding that you really want to give yourselves a name and start something together.
Well, when we had a friend who is a teacher in SEMO University in Cape Girardeau, and she's the history teacher. And her husband is a friend of Javier. He's also a graphic designer. So we met them through a common job that Javier had previously. And we started doing, printmaking and things like that. And one day she saw a picture that I post about a print on Facebook. So her name is Johnny Hand, and she sent me a message and she told me, I didn't know that you were doing printmaking. Can I see more of what you guys are working? And I told her, well, this is just a little print that I did on this workshop for kids in the museum. So I sent her some pictures. And then she told me, I showed them to my friend who is also a printmaker. Her name is Hannah March. She's from Orange Industrial Barrels. And she told me, we really like your print. And it was just like a couple of prints. And she was like, you guys have something. Do you want to come for a residency for the whole month next year and have a show? And I was like, what? I was like, what? They gave us like a whole year to prepare ourselves and our skills a little more to do this show about these Mexicans going to Cape Girardeau and have a show, because the director from SEMO University, Dr. Vargas, he's Mexican, so he was very interested in having a Mexican doing this residency and this show in SEMO. So it was just like a big push for us to focus on what it was important to us. It was art all the time. So it was like, okay, focus. This is important. This is what we study for. So we start working really, really hard for that show a whole year. And since then, we have been doing a lot of things. And it was like the start of Tres Gatos, because it was first just Javier and me. But then we were like, okay, we need to put a name on this. So because we have 3 cats, so that's why it's Tres Gatos.
Oh, gotcha. I was actually, one of my questions was, how come it's Tres Gatos if there's only 2 of you? But it's actually,
actually, all the time when someone met us, it's like, where's the 3rd cat? There's only 2 cats. There's 3 cats, but at home we are only 2 working.
Yeah.
So since 2016, we start working and learning and focusing on printmaking and reconnect with this amazing medium, what is printmaking. I mean, I really like painting because it's my major, and I love the smell of the paint and the oils and everything. And it's just you and the canvas, and that's it. No one else is involved in painting, just you yourself.
This is a printmaking podcast, Alejandra. Let's not. I'm just teasing.
I try to convince you. About painting.
Let's not get carried away now. Yeah. No.
But I mean, printmaking is working in a community. It's working with others and enjoying working with other people and showing and sharing, and that really got us into printmaking and all the possibilities that you can find in printmaking. Not just linoleum, not just because we haven't done lithography because we don't have we don't have a press or a stone to work on, but the things that we work on, we try to explore, we try to give them more than paper. I don't know if it makes any sense with my stubbornness.
Yeah. And I think that that's one thing that anyone who follows you on social media will see, is that you're not just sort of doing like, here's my lino cut, here's a bunch of square editioned prints from my lino cut. Here's another lino cut, here's a bunch of square editioned prints. That you two are thinking about it in kind of interesting ways. I think one of the things that really caught my eye was using a tortilla press to do printmaking. And then also you built maybe even like a little teeny tiny sort of version of it as well. Can you just sort of, just let people know a little bit about how that came to be and how the tortilla press works and how it seems to produce pretty good prints as well?
And tortillas also.
Yes, exactly. Very important as well.
Yes.
Yeah, well, the idea about using a tortilla press came when we were doing this printmaking in our local museum, and then every time we were like, okay, now I want to do more, but how can I do it because I don't have a press, an etching press? So what do we do? And that's why we mostly use linoleum as a media to make our prints, because we just need the pressure against the paper and we just need to carve the linoleum or the MDF wood if it's needed. So that's why we remembered that someone used a tortilla press one time, just as a rumor. So we were like, okay, let's try it, because some of what we have as a couple is that, okay, we hear this rumor, let's check it out. Let's check it out. If it's true, let's try to find the way to do it as they say. And if it's not working for us, okay, let's try again. Let's use another approach. So that's why we started to use the tortilla press. We saw a lot of things that needed to be tweaked, like the some parts of the machine, because of course the machine is not designed to print. It's designed to
make tortillas.
It's very soft corn dog. So the pressure is very mild. It's not, you don't need too much. So, but we needed a little bit more. So we added some felt. Then we experiment with adding a piece of MDF wood block. Then we crashed a lot of hinges. Yeah, honestly, we destroyed a couple of.
I can imagine,
Yeah. So you can do your own prints using this machine, but definitely you need to understand the machine a little bit, like trying to. Yeah, it has a very slightly
a curving process.
Learning curve. So you can have these nice and crisp prints, because when we started, also we were using just thin paper because of the pressure. And one time we used a cotton paper and it didn't work. So we were thinking, okay, what we can do, and then we just soaked the paper on water, then put it on the machine, and worked pretty well. So you actually use cotton paper with that machine without any problem. So we were using that because it was a necessity. It born from a necessity. So, and that's now we use that machine super regular.
And because here in Mexico, and I think everywhere, an etching press is very expensive here.
Yeah.
So it costs like a couple of thousand of pesos. So it's very, for us right now, it's hard to buy one. So I mean, that doesn't stop us to produce prints, to make art. So, and it's really easy to carry on the machine. I mean, it's 40 kilos, but even, no, 40, no, 20 kilos. And you can carry with you anywhere, because we have been printing on the street, we have given workshops, we use it for everything. And you can show to people that you don't need, for the start, you don't need a big press, a fancy press with this big studio and all the expensive. You can work with the things you already have in your house, because a tortilla press here in Mexico is very common to have it in your house. Well, in my house with my mom, I don't know, new generations, they know how to do it, but it's very common to find it here in local markets. And the tiny ones that you mentioned, they are for kids. When it's Day of the Dead, they sell these tiny machines to put it on the
altars.
On the altars for death. And so we bought a couple of them, and we tried to make like these tiny little cut, and they work. Just to experiment, and because we like to collect them, actually we have like a 5 or 6 tortilla presses, but we work with the big one. We call it the evil tortilla press because he has some attitude. We try to teach everyone can do a print with what you have in your home. That's why we use our tortilla press. It's like a flag of you can do it. Whatever they say, don't listen, just print. Because when we start, some people were like, oh, no, that's a joke. No, yeah, I saw those, but no, I don't think it's gonna last. So here we are, 3 years later, and we're still working with our evil tortilla press, and we're still here.
I feel like that's just such a great icebreaker too. It must be when you're doing things out in public, is that I always feel like, at least, in the jobs that I've had where I've kind of been a bit of this interface in between like the world of art, whatever that exactly means, and like the world of the public, there's really this sort of internalized assumption that some people come to it with, this isn't for me. I'm not an artist. I didn't go to art school. I'm not in that world. But the fact that you've got this tortilla press to be this sort of bridge where you're saying, like, this is something that you've seen, either if it's not in your home, it must have been in your grandmother's home. And so I would imagine that it really kind of draws people in and maybe takes some of that sort of fear off and sort of trepidation that some people have about approaching artists and approaching people who are making art. Is that the case?
Yeah, definitely. When we used these tortilla press before this pandemic, we used to do these demonstrations at the street. In fact, we were scheduled for this October's MAPC event, and well, it just canceled. But we were doing prints with our tortilla press in Kent State in Ohio, so it postponed to 2022. But we love to do that because, yeah, the people approach us first because, okay, these guys seems like they are doing some food. They are selling, maybe they are selling tacos. So they approach to us, and when they see the sprints, they were like, okay, so what is this? What are you doing? So we start our chat, or we start saying them to the public about, okay, this is relief printmaking, this is linoleum. If you don't have linoleum, you can use shoe plastic, you can use another materials, rubber materials, or you can even use MDF. So we start talking, and that's how we feel like we are getting people into printmaking, because a lot of people, when see a print, they say, oh, this is a nice painting, or
Or
that's a
drawing.
nice drawing.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, no, this is printmaking is different. So we start telling them why it's different. So the main idea is to have people trying to recognize a little bit what a print is, and when they visit a museum or something, or something like that, they are like, they are more into printmaking, about, okay, I understand a little bit how they make this, so I can have a better landscape about what I'm seeing. So yeah, that's it. One of the points to do that.
Mm.
And because we like to take our workshop to the streets to share with the people, because when we these activities in public, we gave away all the prints.
Yeah.
It's for free. We're not charging anything. So it's just like giving away tortillas. It's giving away a free taco. And because we use these round linoleums, they look like tortillas. So it's like a round print, and it's for free. So, and we let them to have the experience to ink the block. So they know how to put the in, they can put the block on the tortilla press, they can put the paper and push the tortilla press. And you can see the people, they really like this kind of approaching, because it's very, here in Mexico, people think that museums are just for this special
For wealthy people.
Yeah.
people, and they think that they're not allowed to be inside of the museum.
Mm.
So when we are trying to do what is like share some art, and they can know what, like Javier says, what is printmaking, and they can do it with erasers. They can have the experience of inking. They can ask us about whatever, if they just want to see what we're doing. Sometimes people tell us like, but why are you doing this? Why don't you charge? What do you get from this? Well, I get the experience and the happy faces of the kids, because when we have workshops with kids, I mean, it's a lot of fun, because they really love how to, they see this big machine, and they are like, my grandma has one of these. So you can see they really like these kind of activities. But sometimes government, museums, I mean, it's not an expensive activity. If we can do it with our own money,
Yeah.
why don't museums or approach these schools, public schools, to try to do something with the kids?
That's got to be such a great thing for the kids that they're going to remember. And the fact that you're just giving the prints away, it's not just, oh, yeah, I think I saw someone making lino cuts once. It's going to be like, I saw it and then I still have this. And I feel like you two are just like Johnny Appleseeds of printmaking or something. You're like out there like spreading the good word and planting the seeds in all those kids who hopefully will grow up and be interested in it and be interested in art and not have that sense that a museum's not for them or art's not for them, that you have to be really wealthy to do this. Because that's one of the things that I think hurts the art world so much, is that assumption that people bring and the barriers that that it creates. Yeah. And so you two are out there in the world and you're working together, but you're also partners, you're also married. What's it like to work, with sort of your other half, to work with your person in a creative undertaking for you?
Well, sometimes it gets difficult. I think that's normal because I work in some way and Alejandra works different, of course. So because I have a background about graphic design, about the making layouts and editorial design, infographics, and that stuff. So I try to do my prints with a lot of symbolism and layouts and complex layouts. I really love complexity. So Alejandra, when she asks me about my opinion on one piece, sometimes I say to her, okay, this is my opinion. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. Don't worry. Okay. And then we start arguing a little bit, and I am like, okay, well, that I will do that like that if I was me. So well, sometimes it's a little bit rough, but I'm very happy that Alejandra works in some way and I work in some other way. Definitely, we both. I think I wanna believe in that we are improving our technique. So I think it's good to see Alejandra how it's coming along. I feel great to see myself and see other prints in the past, but I think that definitely you can see which is which. I mean, you can see definitely you can see, okay, this is Alejandra's, this is the difference.
And I think it's because we have friends that they are a couple and they are artists, and sometimes the work gets like contaminated in some way with the other, and suddenly you don't know which one is what. And for us, I think, like Javier says, I think we have which piece is from who. I mean, we have some elements because we have this interested about music, about movies, dark art, that we put it in our work, but definitely we work in a different way. But when we are printing, we work very well like a machine, because usually I'm the one who prints, who is
inking
and doing all these things, and at the end he's always like the cleaning lady, because he cleans everything. But we work really well because I understand the machine. He also prints sometimes, but yeah, when we need more, when we are doing big pieces and we don't have a press, because where we live is like in the middle of
nowhere
near to a lake. We don't have like a public workshop that we can go and print. So we try to figure it out. And because Javier is a heavy cat, he prints very well with his feet. And we print these sometimes big pieces, so he uses his body weight. But usually I am the one who is printing using the Tortilla Press. And we know, like, I don't know if I say like our roles in this workshop, but we work really well together. Even when we're working, we're giving a workshop or a demonstration or with another artist or other activities, we really know how to work together in the workshop.
I really loved that answer, because it seems like you two are living the dream, I think, for a lot of print people, which is that you find someone who shares that passion with you, and then you make a life with them, with printmaking at the center of it and doing workshops and working together. But, you know, it's not always easy to work, I think, with anyone. And and particularly if it's someone that you're around 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you work together, you know, and they're your best friend, and they're your spouse. It's complicated, but it's also really rewarding. And I know there are so many people who they'd kind of give anything to have a life like that, where you can share your passion with your person. So yeah, thank you for that.
Wow, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your words, your kind words.
Yes, thank you.
So my next question was, it's a bit of a big question. And I know that people think of printmaking in Mexico as just being like huge and exciting and are really intrigued by it. And that's sort of, I guess, speaking from people who are kind of from the outside looking in. You know, that's the attitude in the United States. That's what people think of in Australia. But you two are in it and you're living it. And so, like I said, it's sort of a big question, but if you could just kind of speak to it generally and your experience of it and the culture of printmaking in Mexico from your point of view.
Okay. Yeah, that's a big question.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think it's the same for every country. The country is divided in regions.
Right.
And the south, the center, and the north of Mexico in terms of printmaking is kind of different. I think it's very different. I mean, as you know, the south of Mexico, Oaxaca, is the I don't know how to say it.
It's well known. It's like the mecca of printmaking of Mexico, because it's very known. These big printmakers in Oaxaca, and because they have like, I don't know, probably like 100 workshops there. I mean, we have never been into Oaxaca, but seems like Mexican printmaking is only Oaxaca, and it's not like that. As Javier says, Mexico it's divided like in the south, center, and the north. And in the north, it's very different about printmaking and the living and all the
scene.
The scene is different because you are next to this USA neighbor, so you have this big influence about the United States, Mexico, the frontier, and everything. And in the center, Mexico City is like the big.
It's a big melting pot of things of graphic. Mexican graphic scene, but for us, we have been in a lot of places, but maybe it's not okay to say this, but we have never been in Oaxaca or in Mexico City as printmakers. We have never been there because a lot of things. I mean, not because we don't want it. We want it to be there, of course, but because, as Alejandra said, we started at this beautiful town in Cape Girardeau doing this amazing month in Seymour University. And then we went to Rockford, Illinois. And then we went to Chicago. And then we went to St. Louis. So we have been in a lot of touch in the U.S. printmakers. We have a lot of friends in the U.S. and in the center, we started to do something. We started to do these big events of printmaking, but you know, sometimes you don't see the good results. So honestly, well, for me, Alejandra can say something different, but for me, the printmaking scene at the center, it exists, but it's very hermetic, and it's difficult to be a part of it. A lot of egos start raising. So Yeah, so we love to work with a lot of people, but as you saw it, Alejandra and I, we work efficient and we work a lot, and some people can't go in our pace, so we start getting these bad situations. So at the end, we finish working again.
Just the two of us.
Just the three.
The three cats, but with two cats.
But we love to do a lot of things. With this pandemic, we start doing a lot of live streamings in Instagram, and it is great. We have been giving away a lot of prints. Some friends in the U.S. started to build their own tortilla press, and they are using it, and we're very proud of that, because we have been sharing this printmaking point of view with our other friends now in Colombia and also States. But yeah, well, I think I say a lot, but okay, now you.
I guess it was a big question. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
I think that probably outside of Mexico, people tend to see Mexican printmakers like Posadas, Leopoldo Mendez, these icons of print revolution and all these political. Of course, I love Posada and he's the master, but I think printmaking here in Mexico tend to have this imaginary about some things, and as you can see in our work, because it happened sometimes that people think that we're not from Mexico, and it's complicated.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it sounds
because
like.
I don't want to sound like rude or
we believe in the masters of printmaking in Mexico.
Because they are.
Yeah, they are the masters. They are the icons. The things that we do, we print what we think, what we feel. We don't necessarily do or print Mexican icons or Mexican imaginary, because, well, I feel like there's a lot of icons out in Mexico. So maybe if I don't do it, it's okay. I mean, there's a lot already. And I just want to say something about COVID or about any other things, about racism. And I don't necessarily need to do a Mexican character or a Mexican plant or a scenery. And I think that we have our own conversation about printmaking, and we don't necessarily need to do Mexican icons. In Cape Girardeau, our exhibition was about Mexican characters, but not necessarily sombreros or Catrinas or that kind of icons. We just wanted to say what we feel. So that's why in that exhibition, people was like, "Are you really from Mexico? Why are you this?" So it was very interesting experience, and it came well that time.
Yeah. So sometimes I feel that we know like big movement in the center, like in Uruapan, Michoacán. We have a friend there in the north, and we enjoy seeing all this print movement that Mexico has, because it has this background. So Mexico is like a big thing in printmaking, but as I think we are like the little outsiders of the printmaking.
Well, it sounds like it is really complicated in that having the reputation and the history and the aura of printmaking in Mexico is a bit of a double-edged sword, because of course it's great to be known for something like printmaking, and it would be great to have your culture known for it, but it also then kind of carries this expectation on what you produce and really affects the way people see your work, because they're coming to it with a bunch of assumptions that maybe if you were from a country that didn't have such a huge tradition, you'd have more of a clean slate when people were looking at your work.
Exactly. You said it better than us. Cut all what we said and put your words. You said it just like that.
Yeah.
Totally true.
Well, it's just, I've been doing this for over 50 episodes now, so I've got a little more practice. So don't worry. But no, I think it does come across in what you're saying and how you're saying it though, and you can hear that you can hear that it's a complex issue, because you don't want to say, oh, I wish there'd never been a Posada, of course, but you also understand that his legacy is still affecting the art that you're making. So yeah, it is a hard issue. But yeah, no, so thank you for being willing to take on that huge question and kind of yeah, and being so open about it as well. Yeah. And so just kind of, have you guys been okay with COVID? How has that been going for you? Because I know you said you're in a rural area, which generally rural areas have been doing a little bit better throughout the world. Aside from having events canceled, which I'm sure is disappointing to say the least, and is what a lot of artists have been going through, how has it been just sort of day to day for you?
Yeah, well, at the beginning of the pandemic, we were all panicked. We were very
freak out.
Freak out, because we don't have any place to go for materials to work with. So we were using our stash, and we were almost running off. And then the government loosened a little bit the restrictions, so we decided to go in a long trip, in and out to Guadalajara. And then we have a friend in Guadalajara who is a very great painter, and I remember he shared an email from one of his friends about, don't panic, try to see the glass of water,
more full.
Mm-hmm.
And try to approach all these situations. So we definitely started to do it. We
try to keep our minds busy, because usually this is our job. Javier is a freelancer, so he does these design things online, and he has his customers and all those things. So usually we stay 24/7 here at home. Usually we only go to Guadalajara on the weekends to see my mom, because she lives there. And we buy materials, supplies, art supplies, and things, because Amazon is very difficult to get here at the moment. So we try to do those things in Guadalajara on the weekends. But since the pandemic started, and because my mom is an older person, we were trying to keep her safe. So we stay at home. It's not like difficult, because it's kind of normal. But that if you go outside, you need to be cautious about this thing and people that don't believe. And we try to do just using our mask and cleaning the things and using, all these things. But that kind of thing is the one that affect us in a way mentally, because I was not able to go to see my mother. I saw her when we do these chats on WhatsApp, but it's different. And the fact that you know that you can't go outside kind of it's tricky with the mind. So that we try to keep ourselves busy, working. We have like a schedule. Usually we work from 9 to 7. We try to keep that schedule all the time. On weekends we can do whatever we want. If we want to play with PlayStation or whatever, video games or anything.
Yeah.
But we try to keep a schedule to maintain our routine. The thing that we weren't able to go to Guadalajara to buy things because everything was closed. But it was interesting.
Yeah, well, in terms of that, that's the situation. But in terms of the workshop of the print shop, we decided to do a lot of media presence, and also we started to do this a series called Gato Encerrado, or Locked Cat, and and we were doing great because we invited people from the States or from Mexico,
from Colombia.
We were doing things together in Instagram, and the results, we're sending the results to everyone who participated with us. So we call it like collaborations in times of COVID-19. That we, as always, we try to say that don't limit yourself. Try to do more, always more. So that's why we started that Gato Encerrado, and it was pretty well, but it's pretty exhausting. So we decided to give a pause, but we definitely try to do a lot of things as we can, because also is part of the print shop.
Yeah, I don't know if you two listened to one of the really, really popular podcasts. It's called My Favorite Murder. And it's just a true crime podcast. But one of the things they've been saying on it recently is that we're all indoor cats now. So it just reminded me of what you were saying. So it's like, yeah, you guys, you're indoor cats now.
Yeah. Yeah, and when we start this series about Gato Encerrado, we were talking with a friend who lives in Zacatecas, who also is a printmaker, and he was like, you know what, we should do like something online just for a little period of time because this thing is gonna end soon. Yeah, right.
right.
We did like 30 episodes of Gato Encerrado.
And
we still love it. We still here at home.
Yeah.
I know. Like when I think about when I think about like the optimism I had, even just a few weeks ago, it's like it seems so naive right now. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, before we sign off, can you please tell people where they can find you online, where they can follow the online programming that you're doing, and see you using the Tortilla Press and all of that?
You can find us in Instagram as Tres Gatos Press, on Facebook, Tres Gatos Press, on Twitter, Tres Gatos Press. And we also have our personal accounts. Sometimes we post different things that we post on Tres Gatos Press as Alejandra Mares, Javier Moreno. And we try to keep our account busy, like doing things regularly.
Someone wants to build their own tortilla press, just send us a DM or a message, and we gladly we're gonna share pictures of our tortilla press, and they can build their own. We can also give tips about how to use it, and we're more than happy to share all that material so they can build their own tortilla press at home.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for that, and thank you for joining me. Yeah, I'm really excited to share the stories and to do another double release with you two. So it's been great chatting. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Miranda, for doing this for all the Latin American printmakers.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. All right, well, I will be in touch, and thank you again.
Thank you so much, and keep the good preaching, Miranda. You're doing an excellent job.
Thank you. Well, that's our show for this week. Join PCL again next week when my guest will be Anna Hasseltine. Anna has an impressive resume of working with everyone from Brand X Editions to Cannonball Press, and is currently living in Chicago, working as a printer at Hoof Print Workshop. We talk about making your way in the print world, animals as metaphor, collaborating with Speedball to create her own ink, and of course, her adorable pet rabbit. You won't want to miss it. This episode, like all episodes, was written and produced by me, Miranda Metcalf, with editing help from Timothy Pauschak and music by Joshua Weber. I'll see you next week.